Hello and welcome to MMA Crypt's Fighting Talk. On today's show, Team Dirty will take on Team Job Squad in MMA Crypt Manager as we select fighters from UFC Fight Night, Brown vs Silva. Joining me on today's show, managing Team Job Squad, will be Mr. Greg Marshall. Welcome to the show, Greg.
Alright buddy, how's it going?
It's not too bad, Greg. Okay, the rules to today's competition are as follows. Each manager will take turns to pick a fighter. Each manager will pick 5 fighters, maximum. You cannot pick the same fighter as the opposing manager/managers. Okay, the scoring system is as follows. 2 points if your fighter wins. 1 point if he finishes the fight. And your captain gets double points if he wins. Okay, as I won the coin toss, Greg, I will pick first, and I will select the captain first also. No, there was no cheating on my side. No, Greg has 100% faith in the fair coin toss, what I just did. No, obviously you can't see it, but I am 100% honest there, Greg, so I tell no lies.
Yeah, I believe you, honestly.
Okay, so my first pick, and captain will be Greg.
Me?
No, not you. It's making you sweaty, Greg, on purpose.
That's okay, I know who I'm having.
My first pick and captain will be Mr. Eric Kolsch.
Oh, good.
Oh, I thought that's who you wanted as your captain. I thought I'd be stealing him off you there, Greg.
No.
Obviously, it didn't work.
I think you'll win, but that wouldn't have been my captain.
It's an easy match, come on. Let's be honest. Darren Cruikshank, good fighter, but Eric Kolsch too much. I'm predicting submission as well, so I might get my little finish bonus point there.
Yeah, you could do. But I'm gonna outstrip you with a bigger one.
Go on then, Greg, give us your captain.
My first pick and my captain is Eddie Wineland. A regular finisher.
I can't believe I missed him, actually. Who's he fighting? Johnny Eduardo.
Yeah.
He's 35 years of age. He's got a record.
For a while either. I think it's 2 years since Eduardo had a fight.
He's got a record of 26-9. He beat Jeff Coon in his last fight, which is pretty impressive. So he lost to Rafael Assunção before that. So a good pick there, Greg. He's got a decent record though, so it might not be as plain sailing as many predict, but
yeah, I'm hoping the layoff affects him as well.
When was his last fight? Let's have a look. 2012, shit, 2 years ago.
It's a couple
literally
of years.
Dead on. It was May 15th, so this will be May 10th, so literally 2 years ago, dead on.
So,
Damn. Do you know why he was off so long?
Injuries. I think he's had 3 or 4 fights booked and pulled out of them all, I think, from what I remember.
Coming back to face Eddie Wineland after a long injury. Ooh.
Yeah, and Wineland, we all know how good Wineland is. He finishes guys.
Well, looks like I'm going to have to come up with a good pick next, Greg. I think I'm going to be losing points on that one.
Yeah. And your captain.
Well, I've got faith in my captain. I really have, Eric Kolsch. I think he could get me the full 6 points. But let's have a look at my second pick. Pretty obvious, this one. I'm sure he's high up on your list here, Greg, but I'm going to steal him. It's Mr. Eric Silva.
Damn it, I didn't think you would pick Silva. I thought you would go Matt Brown.
Matt Brown?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm just sure you would go. Everybody seems to think Brown's going to win.
Are you going for Brown?
No, fuck no, I'm not going to go near Brown. Eric Silva, rear naked choke, round 2.
Yeah, damn right. That's finish bonus as well.
Yeah. Damn, I was convinced you were going to take Matt Brown. Damn it,
I was going to have Silva as my captain. I think Brown's overrated, but then again, do you know what? I predict him to lose to Swick and whatnot. Pretty much all his fights I've been like, oh, this is the one he's going to lose, but he always comes through. If he beats Eric Silva, damn, he's legit.
I deliberately didn't pick Eric Silva first because I was convinced you wouldn't pick him.
There you go, Greg. That's the tactics of the game.
Schoolboy error.
Well, you picked Eddie Wineland. If you had the coin toss, Greg, you could have picked Eddie Wineland and Eric Silva. So
yeah, I know.
So it's in my favour. The fair coin toss,
That's
is.
Fair one. When I shouted heads, and it was always going to be tails. Oh well, I'll have to go with somebody else now.
Who's your second pick, Greg?
My second pick, and I'm fucked if I know now because you've took two of mine already.
Team Job Squads.
Team Job Squad's next pick is going to be Justin Salas against Ben Wall.
Do you know what? I was going to pick him just off the sheer fact he's facing Ben Wall.
Yeah, that's exactly why I've picked him. Ben Wall is as decent as he is. He's just not very good. Nowhere near good enough to be in the UFC. And Salas should have an easy night in that one. Whether he finishes, I'm not sure. But
you look at Colin Fletcher. Colin Fletcher had his day with him on the Ultimate Fighter. Do you know what I mean? He literally outwhipped him all around the cage in all areas. And Colin Fletcher's not even in the UFC. And I wouldn't say he's struggling outside the UFC, but because he's been fighting to other people's strengths, some strength reason. But still, I agree. He's definitely not UFC caliber.
So on that basis, that's why I went with Salas.
Interesting. I think we've got a couple of winners here each, Greg, to be honest with you.
I hope so. Well, me anyway.
Now it gets a bit tough here, Greg. See, I don't want to say no names just in case you pick up on it, but I'm sure you got your list already.
I'm having to think of new names because you've took two of mine already, though.
Right, I'm going to go with Tim, the Dirty Bird, Means.
Oh, good. I didn't go for him.
Fits in well there on Team Dirty. We've got a dirty guy on. I've got two Erics and the Dirty Bird.
Sounds good to me.
Tim Means. I really do not rate Neil Magny at all. That's the main reason. Plus, this is Tim Means' return to the UFC after getting cut. He's coming off two impressive victories, I think. Let me just check.
Yeah, he won a couple of fights in Legacy. I think he beat Pete Spratt, didn't he?
Yeah, Pete Spratt. And Tainus Young.
Oh, yeah, him. He's got a win over Justin Salas, actually, so I'm looking at now.
There you go.
Funnily
enough. Your guys.
But yeah,
I picked him third.
He was fighting at lightweight when he was in the UFC before, but he's went up to welterweight since he left. That's the only doubt I've got in Tim Means. Magny's a big welterweight.
I don't even know why Magny's in the UFC. I could be wrong. Just maybe I'm not seeing something that everybody else is. But yeah, I don't expect Neil Magny to be in the UFC much longer. Let me just check his record. He only won his last bout against Ghassan Amayilatov.
Yeah, I think he just dominated him on the mat.
He's always fucking decisioning guys, though. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He can't finish a fight. He did on the regional circuits, but on the Ultimate Fighter and on his UFC run, he's just he looks boring, crap.
He's a pretty. Well, he's exactly what you think of if you think of a lay and pray fighter, isn't he?
Yeah.
He takes a guy down and just lies on top of him. Doesn't really work to do anything.
Lay and pray Magny.
which is why I think he might take the win over Means, because Means is a far smaller guy. Magny's a big dude.
Well, the first two picks are pretty close here, Greg. So if you are correct, your next pick, that could be the make or break it.
Yep. And I'm going to stick with the undercard for my next pick, and I'm going to take Nick Lentz.
Oh, you bastard! That was my next pick.
So I think Manny is good, but Lentz is strong.
Yeah.
Lentz was on the verge of a good fight when he came up against Chad Mendes. He got to the point where if he'd beat Mendes, he was a legit title contender. Obviously, Mendes put that to bed by beating him really easily. But up until then, he looked really, really good. I think he should be too good for Manny.
Oh, for sure. Now, I'm starting to get a little bit worried here, Greg, because there's not much available on the main card now.
You notice I've stayed away from the main card.
Yeah, I'm tempted for Soa Playley, but this Ruin Potts, he's been doing good in Africa. He was the champion out there.
Yeah.
So I, even though I've not seen him fight, I just don't want to pick against him. Now, Soa's really good, but, that could be a big upset. So I want to stay away from that. Lewis Smoker, everyone's raving about this guy. So, should I just go with Smoker off the hype?
Ooh, big decision.
See, I want to go against Ed Herman here with Natal because I think Natal's Similar version of Ed Herman, but just that much better. Yeah, fuck it. Rafael Natal will be my 4th pick.
Right. He was one of my ones for last choices, so I'm not too upset to lose him off the map.
Team Dirty's looking pretty ruthless here, Greg.
It's looking okay, but it's not as good as the job squad.
Eric Cole, Sherrick Silva, my little Eric tag team there. Tim the Dirty Bird Means and Rafael Natal. He's going to beat the fucking carrot off Ed Herman's head. I'm a big fan of Ed Herman, but he just...
recently, he's not looked anywhere near as good as he was.
He's always up and down, always up and down. And even the ones what he wins, he always gets hurt first and then comes back and wins. So,
yeah. Although, I think his last fight, you're saying he's up and down, his last fight, he looked terrible. He didn't even look like he was in the fight.
If I remember rightly, Natal's looked pretty good recently, apart from the Tim Kennedy knockout.
Yeah, and Kennedy's looked excellent, so
yeah.
I would have went with Natal. Probably would have been my 5th pick if I'd kept going. But as he's not, I'll go with my 4th pick, and I'm going to take a gamble on Soa Palelli.
Was that because I mentioned him, or...?
No, he was always going to be my 4th. Well, he was probably my 4th or 5th pick anyway, but as you've already took Eric Silva, yeah, Palelli will do me. I think Potts has got a decent record in Africa, generally finishing guys in the first round, but I see that most of them are submissions. I'm not sure that Palelli will be on the ground for him to submit, because Palelli will have hit him hard and knocked him out. At least I hope so.
My next one, Greg, it's going to be pretty much a risky one here.
Yeah.
No guarantees. Just because I like him, and in his last fight he did really, really good against Jason I, and I really respect Jason I. He gave Jason I a really tough fight, and that's going to be Anthony Lapsley.
Right. I can't even remember who he is, to be perfectly honest.
He's the king of the... I knew about him years ago, like 2008. He's the king of the cage guy.
Yeah.
He's not... To tell you the truth, I think he's underrated, to be honest. I really do. I think he's very underrated. He lost to Jay Heron and Jason High, but just going off the fact that he gave Jason High a really tough fight, and Jason High, I really respect Jason High. I think he's a really good fighter. Just off that, I'm picking him. Now, his opponent, Albert Tumenov. I'm just going to check him out, just to make sure.
He'll be Russian or something.
He looks like it. I don't like going against the Russians, but it's sort of hit and miss with the Russians, just because the Russian doesn't always mean the
Yeah, I know. It's funny, because there's been a few good ones recently, it's suddenly, oh, he's Russian, he's going to be good, but it's not the case.
Well, his opponent, Albert Tumenov, is 22 years of age. He's got a record of 12-2. He's 8 wins by knockout, so could be a striker here, Greg. So I'm predicting Lapsley take him down and wrestling him. He lost his last fight to Eldemir Alcantara, so that might be something to look at. But yeah, there's my gamble on Anthony Lapsley. Let's see if it pays off.
Right.
Who's your 5th and final pick, Greg?
My 5th and final pick, I'm tempted to... I had a list of my top 8, and it was Silva, Eric Koch, Wineland, Salas, Nick Lentz, Soya Palelli, Lawrence Larkin, and Horiguchi. Now, I lost Silva and Koch, and I lost Natal, so I should really pick Larkin, but I'm tempted to go with Horiguchi, just to stay off this main card again.
Well, I was looking at Daryl Montague. It was a choice between him and Lapsley a minute ago, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't really remember Horiguchi's last fight, but I'm sure it was a brutal knockout. I see he beat Peg, and I'm sure I remember Peg losing a bad knockout. I just can't remember what it was like.
Well, the thing here is, Greg, none of our fighters are facing off against each other.
Yeah.
So technically, we could all win.
We could all win, yeah.
Yeah, just hopefully it'll go on the bonuses.
Except Tim Means will lose to Neil Magny. I'm gonna make an executive decision, and I'm gonna go with Lawrence Larkin, since he was the one that was higher up when I initially thought. So Larkin's my last pick, because I think Philippou has looked awful recently.
Yeah, he's not looked the same since leaving Team Sarah.
Yeah,
Team Longo, Team Sarah.
He doesn't look the same at all. His last 2 fights, he's been brutal.
He was up there when he was like around the 6-7 mark, and
he'd won 5 straight and was talked about as winning one more fight for a title shot. But then they gave him Francis Carmont, and Carmont just, brutally laying prayed him. And then Luke Rockhold kicked him to the body. But he just there's something about Philippou that I just don't really think is very good. He's a boxer, but he didn't look like a good boxer the last few times.
Well, I like your pick, Greg. I think it's pretty safe. Looking at all the picks, to be honest with you, I think the only real dodgy one is you think my Tim Means, just because he's outsized, and I think your dodgy one's probably Sour Playley. So I think we've got four guarantees and one dodgy one each.
Yeah,
I noticed you chickened out and didn't face off against me with anybody.
No, it's funny because I thought I was convinced we'd be facing off with Brown and Silva, because I was sure you would take Brown. And I was disappointed when you said Silva. Gutted.
Okay, Greg, thank you for joining me today.
No worries, always a pleasure.
Okay, from MMA Crypt's Fighting Talk, thank you for watching.